All right, our Wizards Media Day coverage begins with the general manager, Will Dawkins. What's up, dude? How are you?
Nothing much. Good morning. How you doing?
Doing well. So I won't ask about the game specifically last night. I wrote the question list before the outline. But what was it like to be there with Bub? For those that don't know, Will is a big Bills fan, so it's a little bit of a rough morning. But you were there with Bub Carrington, a Baltimore kid, obviously one of your draft picks. So what was it like to be there with him?
On to next week for the Bills.
Yes.
Moving on to next week. It was a great experience. Not just the game, which I'll touch on a little bit, but we were in Baltimore all day, spending some time in Bub's old neighborhood. I got to have dinner with his family, just meet the people that are important to him. We stopped by a hospital, visited some babies, and Bub just kind of wanted to give back to the community while we were up there. And then obviously we had a fun interaction, but the Ravens hosted us. They did a really tremendous job. They got a great team. I enjoyed the atmosphere. My family came out. They got to enjoy it as well. So it was good to take part in sports outside of just what we're used to seeing.
It's a jam-packed sideline, too. Yeah, a couple gold medalists, and Angel was there.
It was loaded. It was loaded. A lot of people showed up. It was a big game, and more importantly, Derrick Henry showed up. So.
Yeah, he sure did.
Right away.
Announced his presence fairly quickly.
Right away.
All right, so you always talk about the offseason. Your name for it is jump season.
Yes.
My question for you, Will Dawkins, is what jump did you make this offseason as a general manager?
I think the jump I made was just in hiring staff. It was a really important offseason for us to build the continuity for the players, but create some continuity for the staff. And we had to make some tough decisions and let a few people go. But it gave us an opportunity to add a lot of really good people as well. And the continuity between both of those groups now moving forward is what I'm probably most proud of and where we took the biggest jump as an organization.
In the spirit of you don't know what you don't know, last year was your first year in the big chair. You've been assistant GM. You know, I know that you've talked about how Sam did a great job of kind of raising you in that organization. But once you got in the chair, what's the thing you learned last year that you're like, oh, okay, now I get it?
There's so many. I would say how important having the right people around you really is, and the idea of developing those people even more. Like before, I was a little bit more focused on developing scouts, developing evaluators, developing the coaches, but we have to develop the whole organization. And I don't think I took it for granted, but I didn't understand the heavy lift that it was. And to be honest, now I have a better feel for my time and where I can allot my time. And last year was leveling up and just getting everything off the ground, and now I can really invest in the people in the different departments and grow our team organically.
So you like this question's coming from some comments that you made recently, including your press conference the other day. There seems to be.
Did you go to the press conference, by the way?
No, I was unable to go for reasons that I can tell you after the interview. I did, however, spend 34 minutes of my Sunday morning yesterday watching it, so I did do my research.
I was just saying after you skipped out on the basketball, I was starting to find a trend there.
No. There was a legitimate reason I wasn't there, which I will tell you later. However, Will Dawkins. There seems to be something about this job in particular, and I wanted to see if there's like a scab to pick at there. Is there something about this job, by the way, not saying that in a bad way, whether it's the city, whether it's the fan base, something that's unique to the Washington Wizards that maybe generically you expected XYZ about being an NBA GM, but then being the general manager of the Washington Wizards, you're like, oh, that is something that is unique to DC.
Oh, yeah. It starts with the fans. I think the connectedness and the honesty that they give me when I meet them on the streets is pretty impressive. What was unique about this opportunity? Start with Mr. Leonsis and just his direction, his willingness to let Michael and I come in, have a chance to assess everything and do what we want moving forward with it. Having that ability to have a rebuild in a massive, impactful city like DC, pretty much start from scratch, that's very rare for a team that has a rich history in the past and has been in the city for so long. And then knowing how knowledgeable those fans are and how patient those fans have been, to ask them to be patient a little bit longer, that's something I really had to learn. I hadn't felt that. Like, they've been feeling that. So it's a little different.
Yeah, no 50-win season since 79 is something that tends to get reminded about, and it's like, and honestly, like I think that's part of the reason some of your predecessors are no longer here is because they didn't fully appreciate and understand that. It's like, oh, you can't ask people that have been being patient to be patient. So you said on the street, or you literally just have people come like, hey, you're Will Dawkins, right? I got some notes for you. A little bit
more, thanks for coming on podcasts like this one. But more to like airports and when I'm in the arena or walking out of this area. But again, we're trying to win 50 wins multiple times,
right?
Not just one time, and they understand that. So again, we're trying to find the path to charter towards sustained success. And for us, we're not going to rush that. And I asked them to continue to be patient with me, and I appreciate that they are.
Yeah. You mentioned the other day in that press conference that you guys are in the deconstruction phase.
Yeah.
You also mentioned there's some luck involved in the rebuild, which I think obviously the lottery is what it is. We have to do our part. Mm-hmm. Asset management becomes a big thing. So one question you were not asked about is the decision around Tyus Jones.
Okay.
Going back to the trade deadline, and then ultimately how he just ultimately leaves for nothing in NBA offseason terminology. Right. But so I would love for you to explain the decision making around Tyus at the deadline, where I think the plan was to either re-sign him or explore sign and trade, and then ultimately how it plays out.
Fair question. I would say in terms of the phase of the team, the deconstruction phase, that's something where we got here and we knew this wasn't the building that we wanted to have. But there's still some good bones to that building, so let's find out what's there. And when we made the trade and acquired Tyus, it was like, let's fully understand him, have a full gauge. When we got through the trade deadline, he's someone that we wanted to keep around the team just for his value on the court, but also in the locker room. And part of deconstructing and laying that next foundation is having good role models in the organization, both on the court, but more so in the locker room. So Tyus served that. Again, as you guys know, in free agency, it takes two to tango. You got to do what's right for you. We had conversations. I think you saw what we did draft night and bringing in Malcolm Brogdon and bringing in two other ball handlers made it difficult, made it a little different. But again, I think he had to make the best decision for him. We value Tyus and very happy that he stayed with us. And then he embraced it the way he did. And I think he'll do well in Phoenix.
It is one of those things that I do laugh at sometimes. It's like, he left for nothing. It's like, well, they got an extra couple months of basketball, which he was getting paid for, and all of the things that came with that.
Cultural deposits he made. He really did.
Do you have a story that really illustrates that for folks?
Say it again?
A story about Tyus and the cultural deposits?
Yeah, I would say right after the coaching change, we brought in a few guys and explained our why to that small group before we got in front of the team. And I said, any of you want to speak up and kind of explain where we've been, but also where we want to go. And he gave an impassioned speech to the group. And at that point, you knew he's someone we wanted to be around for the rest of the season. So just continue to lead through that. So those are things sometimes fans don't see. We don't really pump out there, but Tyus is a leader, and he's going to do well for Phoenix.
I felt like I'm on Hot Ones now. Have you ever watched that? And they have the Explain That the YouTube show, Hot Ones, with the Hot Wings? Yeah. And they have the Explain That Graham segment. Now I'm just explain that thing you said at the press conference.
Here we go.
You talked about building things on the fly. Which obviously generically I think most people understand what that means, but can you give an example of something that you figured out on the fly?
Man, there were so many. Building on the fly is hey, here's a problem. How do you assess it? I don't even know who to go to when you first walk in. Who is our head of medical when we have a medical issue? Who is our team doctor for these things? Why does this not function the way that I think it should make sense? So there were so many of those that you're just hey, let's learn the building on the fly. Let's learn our medical team on the fly. Let's learn our coaching staff. We're making a in-season change. What all goes into that? How do you message that to the players and media? So again, baptism by fire, I think they like to say.
Yeah, it's another way to put it.
It was a very interesting first year, but I think we grew as an organization because of it.
What's your process figuring out what needs to be done now and what can wait? Because there's a million things that you encounter. You're this is not working the way I want to, but not all of them have the same sense of urgency, and there's obviously trickle-down effects. You make one decision, that affects something else, and so you have to understand the scope of it before. I'm explaining this to the audience, not you. You obviously understand this. But how do you determine kind of the hierarchy of needs when you encounter so many things that you want to change?
Yeah, the collaboration with Mike Winger and myself, he sets a foundation for what he wants and how he wants it to look, and then it's on all of us to try to carry that out. We're going to stay true to our core principles, and we're going to prioritize those. And when you don't see those clicking on all cylinders, you got to figure out how do we adjust that? How do we make the environment more repeatable? How do we add cultural deposits, whether that's people, whether that's resources, to make sure that we're addressing the culture and the environment that's stable enough first to build on. So that's probably why we did that.
Mentioned the coaching change. Obviously, last year you guys liked Wes going into the season. He's someone that I think Michael had interviewed out in LA, so, there's some familiarity there. But ultimately, you get into the season, and obviously it wasn't working because you guys made the change. How different is your approach this year going into the season through the lens of the coaching staff, with Brian as someone that you picked and that you're familiar with and know, versus someone where last year you had hope, but it was a let's see?
Yeah, I think our approach with our head coach is going to be consistent. Wes did a tremendous job in terms of the things we were asking him to do off the court and in the locker room and those deposits that he was making. So again, we're going to focus on that. our relationship with Brian, it was helpful that we knew him before, but we also got to see him at the end of the season coach. But the main things are going to be the main things, and the connectivity with the players, holding them accountable, playing with the competitiveness, playing with the joy, with the passion, playing together. Those core principles are going to be the things that guide us. And Brian's great. He hired a really impressive staff. He didn't just hire his friends. He went out and found people that were opposite of him, thought differently, would challenge him. A lot of them had similar backgrounds in terms of player development. And from the few months that they've been here, they've really been able to relate to players. So I'm encouraged with the coaching staff. I had a long meeting with them the other day just to talk about expectations and standards so we're all on the same page, and they get it.
How do you support him in his first year in that role? And especially if, it's not bringing your friends is ultimately a good thing, right? But that does mean you have to then build cohesion within your staff.
Correct.
So how do you support him in that way?
They took a retreat. I told them, get out of here. Like, go away. You guys really need to bond. We'll do a good job of that throughout on the road as well. But I think how I support him is just showing up, being there for him. He's someone that likes feedback. He actually likes it in real time as well. So he'll come sit down, breathe for a little bit, grab a bite to eat, post-game, most cities that we're in, and be like, hey, what'd you see out there? How could I have handled this differently? And I'll ask him different questions. So it's really open, back and forth, and I think that's productive for us.
All right, last but not least, let's actually talk about the players that are
Let's
going to be on
do
the
it.
floor.
Let's do it.
Alex Sarr,
Yes.
number 2 overall pick. People have seen some highlights, et cetera, but asking someone for a scouting report is a little different when it's the GM that drafted him. Give us, if you would, the Alex Sarr scouting report now, and then what you hope he grows into.
Oof. The reason, the second part of that is why I get so excited when I talk about Alex Sarr. I think when you see him on the basketball court this year, you're going to see someone who physically isn't what he's going to be 5-6 years from down the line. Offensively, he's going to be able to help our team right away. Just in terms of ball movement, player movement, he can bring the ball up, he can see, he can really pass, and he can score the basketball. I think he'll continue to improve as a scorer, continue to improve his shot as he gets more comfortable. But defensively, he's going to have an impact right away. He'll protect the rim. He'll be able to switch, force tough twos, force guys into situations. And we have to be a better defensive team. And we're putting a lot on him and Bilal to be young defenders for our team. Surprisingly, he's very vocal for a young defender. You'll see him out here talking, orchestrating, making sure guys are in the same spot. But he runs, he gets up and down, gets into picks, gets out of screens. He's rolling for lobs, but also catching it, making the right pass. So he's someone that is very fluid in his game and is only going to get better as we continue to give him more and more. But there will be those wild moments both ways. There's going to be some growing pains. But I think by the end of the season, there's going to be a lot that our fans can get excited about. And moving forward, it's only going to get better.
Last guy I'll ask you about, because I know you got to get running here in a second, is Jordan. Obviously, we've talked about his season last year and that it just didn't go the way he wanted to early, but how he stuck with it, how he worked. What realistically is the expectation for him this year, knowing the headspace he's in, knowing that he probably has a better understanding of his role, all those kinds of things that seem to be better this year, hopefully are better this year than they were last.
Yeah, I think you said it well when you said the first season and the second half of the season were completely different.
Yeah.
You just saw him more comfortable. I think you saw him with the ball a little bit more. It wasn't just always making plays, but just touching it, making the ball move so he's getting a feel for it. Jordan's a big part of our team. He's come back early. He's been in the gym. He's mentoring Keyshawn, mentoring Bub, has these guys around him. He's got a really good energy to him right now. Hopefully you guys can talk to him and see that as well.
Yeah, we got him today, so I'm excited to talk to him.
I think Jordan's going to come out and be Jordan Poole. That's what I expect.
Well, Dawkins, everybody, season starts here in just a couple of weeks. Happy end of jump season.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
We'll be back in just a little bit with Keyshawn George next up here on our coverage of Wizards Media Day from Capital One Arena. All right, we're back at Wizards Media Day. Keyshawn George is with us, the 24th pick in the 2024 NBA Draft, one of 3 Wizards' first-round picks. But before we get to where you're at now, I was doing my homework on you, and I was like, oh, I didn't realize Keyshawn George was Swiss. What was life like growing up in Switzerland as a young Keyshawn George?
It was great. Small town, not much to do, but great quality of life, blessed a lot with my family. Created a good group of friends out there, and yeah, just great overall.
What was something about your childhood that you look back on fondly, and you're like, that is uniquely Swiss? That is an experience that I would not have had I grown up somewhere else in the world.
I could just say my whole town could fit in an NBA arena.
Okay.
It's like 20,000 people. So, yeah.
So when did you first dream then of being able to do something like this, coming from a small town, halfway across the world, or a quarter of the way across the world, I guess?
As a kid, we used to have those, NBA highlights clips or CDs that we used to watch with my brother. And, yeah, it just inspired me. My dad was a hooper, too. So, just, in the game of basketball since I was a kid and wanted to play at the highest level possible.
So for you, you bounced around then, Switzerland,
Yep.
France, ultimately U.S. for college. And obviously, Will Dawkins is quite fond of the French basketball system, it seems. What is it about playing there when you were in high school and that age? How did that help your development? What are the things you learned? What are the things they emphasize there that seem to be translating very well to the NBA right now?
I mean, leaving home at 15 years old, you just learn a lot in life in general and also figuring stuff out on the court. Like, I was playing against older guys, 21 years old, play with the pros, practice with the pros, and you just get a ton of reps in and just see the game like a different way at a young age. And then being able to combine it with the U.S. style of play, I think you get the best of both worlds.
What is something that you would say is a French characteristic of basketball, the way they teach, the way they play, versus something that when you got to Miami, you go like, oh, this is an American kind of way of thinking about the game?
I would say in America, there's more give the best guy the ball and let him go get a bucket, whereas in France, it's more rely on, the play, the team, and making the right read every time down the court.
How would you say, because I think the plan here, from what I've gathered, I haven't talked to BK yet today, but in hearing some of the initial comments from Will and some other interviews Brian has done, they definitely want to have a lot of ball movement. There wants to be almost that European style of play, that French style of play. Is that something that, I know you guys haven't really started practicing yet, but as you've been playing pickup with the guys and just kind of being around Wizards basketball, is that something that you feel is going to help you having those multiple backgrounds, and especially that European background that might actually match what they want to do here?
I mean, I think that like I said before, you need the best of both worlds. So it's not necessarily in one particular style of play that is going to thrive the most. But I think it's just being able to have different tools in your toolbox and, picking the right run in the right situation. And I think definitely in this situation, I think I'll be able to, bring what I got to the table and make this team better.
Keyshawn George with us here at Wizards Media Day on the Team 980. So most late first-round picks go to contenders, and then they often wind up sitting on the bench a lot and not getting to play. But it's cool because you're around winning, and winning's cool. But here you're around a bunch of young guys, a team that's out loud saying, hey, we're rebuilding, we're trying to build something that's sustainable for the long term. How do you think that affects, I don't want to say, how does that shape your career? You haven't even done your first, this is the first thing you're doing at your first media day. So that's a bit of a big question, but how have you felt that environment so far of being in that player development, rebuilding kind of atmosphere and investment?
I mean, I think it's great. During our pickups, a lot of guys are here. We're all young. We all want to get better. And every day you get in the gym and you work. And I think that's something that is great to get into because it shows you, the intentions of the organization and also the players that you're with, and I think it's a great thing to be able to have this young core and being able to build with them.
Have you been who did you spend the most time with this summer being around the team, whether it was in Vegas, some of the runs that you guys did, Miami, LA, or here in DC?
I mean, Alex R, Bob Carrington.
Yeah.
They was always there with me.
Tell us a little bit about those two dudes from your point of view.
I mean, they're great guys, personally, off the court, they're great guys, They have a good base. And then on the court, they work. I mean, they want the same thing. We want to, build a culture, build great habits, and be able to be a part of this organization is just a blessing. And yeah, I mean, it's great to be able to go through that journey with them.
Do you and Alex ever speak French just to mess with Bub?
Always.
That's not nice, man.
Not just to mess with Bub. It just comes naturally. We always speak French.
All right. And Bilal gets in on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
He does.
All right. French and I have a rough relationship. I was in France this summer and tried to learn French on like Duolingo, and
French is hard. I'm not gonna lie. French is hard.
When did you grow up like fully bilingual?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So my dad always spoke to me in English, and my mom always spoke to me in French.
Okay, so that's the best way to do it, because when you're young, it's easier to learn stuff, especially languages.
Yeah.
And I'm not as young as I used to be. I'll put it that way. All right, let's wrap up with this. What like for you, not for the team, but for you personally, and I'm not saying this as like if you set your own expectations for yourself, by all means you can answer with those. But also if there's the team has set out some expectations for you, and you're like, I like those. Whatever it is that for you is successful as a rookie season, what to you is like, okay, I did a good job my first year.
Ultimately, I would like to make a all-rookie team, but to me, the most important part would be to find a great rhythm within the team and being able to build a relationship, a trust relationship with my teammates and the coaching staff to be able to, gain as many minutes as possible.
Sounds like some pretty good goals for a rookie.
Yes,
Keyshawn
sir.
George, everybody. See him here in just a couple weeks, and of course, you can hear every Wizards game on the Team 980. Keyshawn, appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Continuing our coverage of Wizards Media Day here on the Team 980 live from Capital One Arena with the head coach, Brian Keefe. Fresh off your first ever coaches clinic as a head coach of the Wizards. You did this weekend. Very cool event, I heard, with different coaches from around the area, college coaches, and then obviously you guys welcome in a bunch of coaches from all levels to teach. So I'm curious, for you, being around all that coaching knowledge, was there anything that you took away, that you learned amidst all the teaching that you did this weekend?
Oh, yeah, tremendous. First of all, that was our first annual coaches clinic. We came up with this idea this summer about how do we give back to the community. You know, this is such a rich place for basketball, rich history of great players, but also great coaches. So we really wanted to engage the community, the DMV, in terms of coaching. So Coach Cooley, Coach Simpkins, Coach Blakeney from Howard all came over, and we all had different segments. So yeah, you're always learning. That's part of this. Like I'm a curious person, so I learned from those. But then there were some great questions from all the people in the stands. I think we had about 150 people there, and they had some good stuff that stimulated thought for me. And that was kind of the purpose to all that, is to share the game. This game has given us all a lot, and how can we give back and share and learn and grow from each other?
So what was something that you learned? Or that you've been thinking about, at least that part?
There was some good offensive rebounding ideas, some different concepts on defense, some drills that people were talking about. So, yeah, there was always a little nugget, and that was the purpose. Like, can there be something that fits for all of us? Yeah. And there was for me. I won't give them away because they were pretty good stuff.
There's always, when you learn something new, there's always a chance of recency bias, especially if you have good institutional knowledge of something, you've been doing something that's working. You get something that's fresh, and you're like, oh, but what if I did that? And then you have to fight the urge to just change for the sake of change. How do you try to fight that recency bias as you have all these new ideas ruminating on the verge of a new endeavor for you as a head coach going through your first training camp as a head coach? Obviously, you had the interim experience last year.
I think you just always got to be authentic to who you are. I think that's good to stimulate thought, growth. What do you think is going to work for you? But you always got to go back to, okay, does this fit what we need, what we're doing? But I do like that you got to stretch yourself. We're asking our players to stretch and grow. We got to grow as coaches. So that's something we're very focused on.
So one of the difficult balances that any coach has in any walk of life, but that you specifically are going to have this year, is you have a very high standard. You have a way that you guys want to do things as a head coach, as an organization, but players also need some level of autonomy to feel that they have control over things. That's how you maximize human performance, obviously. How do you, especially in a rebuilding environment where you want to get things done a very set way, balance that as a head coach?
First of all, I think there's a shared standard, like you talked about, how we're going to try to operate on a day-to-day basis. But we also realize that we have a lot of guys who are growing in their games and growing in their careers. And it's not just our young emerging players, it's our older guys. So we want to put our guys in position to try things that are going to stretch them. I think that's how you build something. And we want to build something, I think I've talked about this a lot, that's sustainable, that's going to be pressure tested. So we're going to find out and put these guys in different things, see what they can handle, play them in different positions, see certain guys handle the ball in different ways they never did in the past. I think those are the things we're looking for this year.
You talk about stretching yourself. What's something that you are nervous about? What's something that you're very confident in? Maybe the most nervous about, the most confident in?
I'm not like an overly nervous person. The thing I look at is challenging. And challenge is a word that I like to use because I think that builds an excitement. So we're about to embark on a journey as our group. We're going to set some standards of how we're going to operate. To me, that's a challenge, how we're going to build this on a day-to-day basis. So to me, when you say challenge, that builds excitement. So I'm not nervous. It's not a word for me. It's more of like, hey, the excitement of the journey, the challenge to build something, that gets my juices flowing in the morning for sure.
All right, well, I'm going to skip ahead on my question list here because that does speak to one of the things I think is most fascinating in your chair. You have this very long vision as an organization where there is a de-emphasis from the front office's perspective on wins and losses. But you're living it every day. You ride the emotions of the game. You're in it. It's your job, quite literally, to try to win every game, every night, find the best ways to do that. So how do you're a part of also this vision. They've chosen you to be the guy to guide this on the floor. So how do you kind of, insulate's the right word, prepare, whatever that word is emotionally, to give it your all every single night in an effort to win while also doing that within context of the larger vision?
I think what the one thing is that we're all totally aligned on how to go about this. We're totally into the process of how to win and how to build something sustainable. We don't want to cut any corners. So my responsibility on our end is not to cut corners, to build it step by step, brick by brick. I love that because that's going to build something sustainable. Yeah, you might sneak in a win in here if you try to maybe do it the wrong way, but that's not going to be something that's going to be long-lasting. That's something that's going to build something that builds something when we really push the gas that we're ready to go. So the alignment of ownership down to Michael, Will, and myself, we know the process. My responsibility is to assure the standards on a day-to-day basis, and I love that.
But is that ever hard? Like, let's say in the moment, right? You have minutes. Kind of you've got a plan for how you want to play guys, and if I put my vet or I put my star back in a few minutes early, like that's going to help our chances to win tonight. Is that ever hard in the emotion of a game when it's close and you're like, you're making those in-game decisions that every coach has to make?
Look, we're competitors. We want to win, so we're going to put ourselves in the best positions to be successful. So that's part of building it the right way. So to me, it's this. We're competitors. How are we going to do that? How are we going to build that over the long terms is something that we can build sustainable. That's the challenge. I'm excited about the challenge. I think it's exciting.
One thing that has changed over your 16, I believe, years in the NBA?
Maybe a little bit longer. I don't know the exact number, but a little longer, I think.
If that's wrong, Basketball Reference, please update your Brian Keefe page because I just need to count better, which is look, Brian, I doubt you listen to a lot of sports talk radio, but if you listen to our show and you want to hear some bad math, we're the right place for you.
Oh, all right.
But one thing that's changed over the last 2 decades of NBA basketball is the structure of the schedule, and part of that is kind of this every other day rhythm.
Yep.
How has coaching, especially in season, changed and I would assume become harder as practice time has become rarer and rarer during the season?
Well, the one thing that's great is that we all play under the same rules, right? So everybody's got the same type of schedule. So to me, I never look at it as like a woe is me. It's like, okay, how do we best use the schedule to coach and teach? I think there's opportunities to do that in so many different ways than just normal everyday practice. So we're going to maximize every opportunity to grow. That could be collectively, that could be film, that could be individual work, that could be individual film. We look at those all as opportunities to grow. So the schedule is the schedule. We all have the same one. Could be different a little bit just because of travel, where you're located, but we all play 82 games. That's the reality of it. So it's how you best maximize your time.
I know you spent some time this offseason trying to think about how you wanted to play schematically, and I don't expect you to then sit here and tell me all of the answers that you came up with, but what was your process in determining, all right, we want to do X, Y, Z. These are the players that at times we want the ball to run through, or however, whatever answers you wound up on, what was the process to get there?
I think you're always looking to see what translates to winning, what wins at the highest level. That's playoff basketball. That's deep playoffs basketball. So there's always a study of that. And then it's once your roster kind of becomes set, okay, how do we best utilize this group? Who needs to grow? What are they going to look like in a few years if they develop these certain skills? I think there's a little bit of a experimentation, innovation with that too as you go forward. We want to see what works, how these guys can grow, what different positions they're in. But the philosophical things like the bedrock stuff is probably going to still be the same. We want to defend at a high level. We want to play fast and share the ball. But how do we do that? How we go about that? I think that you're always evaluating on a day-to-day basis once you have your roster and then once you get into the season.
With that, every experiment needs time to play out. You can't be like, all right, let's try this. Okay, we got one result. Now let's try something else. Let's try something else. Because otherwise you never get to see how things stick. Obviously, chemistry never grows. How do you think about that balance of how long you give, whether it's a scheme, a rotation, a pairing, or a trio of players getting minutes together, all those things?
Again, I think you've already answered the question. You can't just do those things as one-offs. You have to invest some time.
I know the bottom end. I'm asking you, like, how long does it ultimately have? No one-offs is easy.
Sure.
Hey, there's like, hey, you should move the ball. Okay, that's cool, but like, what's the structure in which that happens? So what's kind of does it need 5 games, 10 games? Is there a non-numerical measure of it?
I think there's a little bit of a feel to that. It's obviously not 1. It's probably not 2, but there's you got to invest in things and see if they are going to stick, while still sticking to your core principles. I think those are the ones that eventually rue the day, and those are the ones that push you along. But can there be something that you find out about your team? I think there's always time for that, and we're going to find that during the year.
It's Brian Keefe, everybody, head coach of the Wizards. Training camp getting going tomorrow. Season, of course, in just a few weeks, and every game here on the Team 980, Brian. So we'll be listening and probably watch some on television too. And if not, be here at Capital One Arena. What a place!
All right, thanks for having me.
It's Brian Keefe, everybody. We'll be back with Jordan Poole here in just a few minutes. Here we go. Wizards Media Day with Kyle Kuzma joining us on set for the second straight year. Appreciate you. And I know that you are relatively fresh off of your first ever golf tournament that you hosted.
Yes, I did.
How did that go?
It was a blast. We had a phenomenal time. The first time we had our foundation tournament, we raised $900,000 for single moms and underprivileged kids in our year one, which is
awesome.
Pretty incredible. And I think that's going to really help us in our mission. And then also the golf tournament. I didn't play that well, but I was there for the vibes. And,
and your vibes are always immaculate.
My vibes are always immaculate, and that's what matters in life. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that is also my approach at golf tournaments. It's like, can I hit a couple of decent shots, not thoroughly embarrass myself, and have a good time.
Exactly.
So, and hey, you raised a ton of money for a great cause. Speaking of your money, sir, you've been investing. You opened a restaurant during the off season, I believe, out in couple. Like, you have a lot of opportunities, which is amazing. You've got things in fashion, you got food and restaurants, wine, food and wine, other stuff, I'm sure. How did you decide that, like, the restaurant, fast casual kind of scene and doing it here in the DMV was something that you wanted to do?
You don't play basketball forever. You don't make this type of money that we do forever. So you have to, diversify, and you have to, try to do a bunch of different things. Some things hit, some things don't. But I thought that the food business is something that would never go out of fashion. No pun intended. But people need to eat food, and I think, for me, that was just another entrepreneurial standpoint that I could tap into. So
it's Mahana Grill is what it's called?
Fresh.
Mahana Fresh, yes. And it's out in Gainesville.
Yeah.
So how did you decide that, like, that was the route? Because there's so many, obviously, food and wine's a fairly wide wide array of possibilities. How did you decide on that?
Just going through the database of our co-founder and our real estate location team. They identified that spot, being in a plaza, being around a bunch of different foods, being right off the highway, kind of really just made sense. We're going to open up more stores. We have another store opening up pretty soon up in Columbia, Maryland.
Yep.
So, just adding a few more to this region and all over the country too, because it's not just a DMV food place. We're national. So what have you learned about business that you think is maybe applicable to things beyond business, whether it's basketball, just the way you think about the world? Like, what is something you've learned in this process that has, I don't say like fundamentally changed you, but made you think in a way that you enjoyed? That everything is hard, but everything is also the same as well. Business is a sport. It's no different than basketball. You have a team of people that are working for a common good, trying to build a company. You're going to have your leaders. You're going to have your role players. You're going to have a coach. You're going to have to motivate people. You're going to have to, be very, very competitive in certain spaces, and you're going to have to attack when the time is right. So I think that playing basketball and just playing sports my entire life has really, made me, ready to be an entrepreneur. And, it's very fun. It's a very fascinating thing. So
yeah. All right, let's talk some ball.
Please.
When you don't want to talk business the whole time?
There's media day. It's basketball.
Okay, you're ready to get back in the mode.
Exactly.
Okay, so in the spirit of you don't know what you don't know, right? You came in last year, you knew that you were going to have the biggest role you ever had on an NBA team, and then you talked about during the year that there were things that you weren't fully prepared for because how could you have known? You had never done it before.
Yeah.
What are some of those things, and then how did you work on them to be ready going into this year?
Every day you got to come in. You can't be blah. You can't just be laid back. Coming into practice after losing 2 in a row. You can't just be, chilling, you know what I mean? From a standpoint of like talking, communicating, being there. My work ethic is always high, and I'm always very serious about my craft and trying to improve and being professional, right? But, every day is a new day, but you have to remain the same at the same time and keeping the same energy at all times. I think is very, very important. And, I'm very, very excited for this year because everything I didn't know, I do know now. And I think that's going to really help me out individually and collectively as a team because I'm here. I'm here for my teammates. I'm here for DC. and I'm here to continue to build what everybody here is trying to build. So
one of the things that I think watching last year and I don't say reading into, but like listening to some of your comments in certain post games or whatever media avails, that I thought was an interesting kind of topic along that, right, is the neurological load that it takes, the decision making, and ultimately, like sometimes in the fourth quarter, decision making fatigue. You've gone from making 20 decisions a game to now I got to make 60 decisions a game or whatever it is. Is that something that you felt like you could work on and you maybe talk to other people about, guys who have carried that load to prepare for that part of the game?
Yeah, I think now that I sit back and look back, that's that is a very important part, but it's an excuse at the same time. I think that over this summer, like, just effing do it. You know what I mean? Just like you got to be, Kobe Bryant terms, same animal, different beasts. And I feel like at the end of the day, everything is just a mindset. And just go get it done, And I think that, this off season, I really, I'm in a different mental space, and I'm very, very excited to go out and play.
You obviously brought the guys down to Miami. Jordan brought some guys out to California. What was it like to get the group together, and what did it feel like? You get the group back. It's not the same exact group as last year, but you got some familiar faces. You're bringing in some of the new names. What was it like to watch that group coalesce through those off-season sessions?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I think, in the summertime, a lot of time as NBA players, we like to go our separate different ways, rightfully so, because we're with each other every single day from now until whenever we're finished. But, you kind of got to keep, the engine light on a little bit. You got to be able to connect in the off season, hang out. That's the biggest thing. It's not really about getting in the gym with each other. It's really about the off court, talking, communicating, hanging out off the court. That's the most important thing, and I think we did that over the summer, which was great, especially with this group, new faces, fresh faces, rookies, younger players, building stronger connections with existing players. I think it's all important.
One of the things that has been mentioned by a couple of the front office guys that I've talked to is Malcolm and Jonas and some of the vets coming in, a little bit different in terms of their approach compared to the vets that have been here in the past.
Yeah,
they really
sure.
got to bring in their guys. What have they brought that you've been impressed with so far?
Professionalism and competitiveness. When I think of Malcolm, that's what I think of. I played against Malcolm for many years, being in this league already, and he's the type of person that is extremely competitive. I think every time I played him, you could just sense that his no-nonsense approach, whether he was in Boston, Indy, Milwaukee, he's always kind of had that. I'm very excited to play with another player that is, competitive like myself, and Jonas as well. Jonas is a load. Are you
just excited to not ever have to worry about running into him in a game this year? That seems terrible.
No, running into he's a screen sitter.
Yeah,
he's definitely a screen sitter. I think that's good, but I'm most excited to not having to box him out and keep him off the boards, and I'm happy to have that because we were the worst defensive rebound team in the league, and I'm just happy we won't be this year. So.
What for you is success this year on the floor?
Success this year is individually or team-wise?
Yes.
Or both?
Yes.
Both?
Yeah.
Individually, I want to average more assists. I think I really built up, especially the back half of the year, my playmaking chops a little bit. And I think that's just the next evolution of me as a player because I can score, I can see the floor, I'm tall. I can get people involved, but I want to do it at a consistent high level because that's going to make me individually look better as a player. And I think as a team to develop every single night, being out there as a group from game 1 to game 82, are we a better looking team? Are we a more cohesive looking team? I think that's the most important thing as we go through this rebuilding period, of the Washington Wizards. So.
Kyle, appreciate your time, man. Always good to see you.
No problem. Appreciate
Kyle
it.
Kuzma, everybody. I know that's the end. We're going to put this graphic back up here. That's the end of our schedule. We do have a few more coming, so don't go anywhere at the Team 980 on YouTube.
Yes, sir.
Back with Jordan Poole on Wizards Media Day. JP, what's up, man? How are you?
What's going on, bro? How are you?
I'm doing well, doing well. Fun to talk to you guys this time of year. Everyone's excited. Everyone's getting ready for the season. For you, though, I'm curious, like, when you were in Golden State, you guys went pretty deep in the playoffs pretty consistently. Your season doesn't end until May or even June.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you're done in mid-April. What'd you do? Like, how was it weird being done that early?
Yeah, it was a lot of time off. It worked out. I like to travel a little bit in my off season, but I do like to take my time off and rest a little bit, relax. So if you kind of mix those three things up over the course of like 5.5 months, that's really all I've been up to.
Did it hit you like how long the postseason is, not being in it, maybe even harder than it is when you're in it? When you realize like, oh my God, they are still playing.
Yeah. So my first year was COVID. So
right.
The off season was a little bit.
Yeah, that doesn't.
That was
schedule's
messed
whack.
up a little bit, and then the second year was a shortened season, so we started a little bit later, and then I want to say we started either normally or a little bit earlier coming the next season, and then my third year was.
That was the year y'all won it, right?
Yeah, that was the year we won it, so we went all the way into like June.
Yeah, it's late.
Then
June.
the second or the year after that was like May.
Yeah.
Middle of May, because it's probably like 2.5, 3 weeks for the first 2 rounds. So This is the first off season I had that was like an extended period of time. I mean, when you get it off, you like obviously want to take advantage of it, but like I wouldn't plan on trying to have too many of those.
Right.
But it is what it is.
Speaking of the travel, what was your favorite trip that you took during the off season? Because it looked based off Instagram alone, it looks like you had a couple good ones.
Yeah. Amsterdam was new. I've never been to Amsterdam. We were there for a couple of days. That was fire. I wasn't expecting it to be how nice it was. Food was really good. People were cool. I'm like an outdoorsy, like nature type of guy, so just walking around, kind of getting the feel and vibe of a new city. It was good weather, so let's lock in Amsterdam.
Amsterdam, definitely on my list.
Yeah, you haven't been?
I have not, but I did. You and I did share one vacation destination.
Where?
I was in Paris for the Olympics.
Yeah.
Were you there Olympic time, or did you
No,
go
I definitely
before?
wasn't going when there was all them people out there, bro. There's no way, bro.
They did a good job of making it not terribly busy. I will say. They did a good job. Kudos to the French.
I love Paris. Paris is probably a favorite.
What do you love about it? There's a lot to love. So what is it that you love about it?
The swag.
Yeah.
Just kind of, they just be minding their business. Everybody put real clothes on, but everybody out there on foot, they walking around. It's not like, I'm not going to say it's like super warm and inviting, but it's not like cold shoulder either.
Yeah.
Like people just go about their day out there. So, just the vibes, bro. I don't know. The vibes, bro.
It's great.
Don't let me learn. I'm working on my French. So
how's that going? Because I tried to learn French and it was terrible.
It's going good. I got three players on the team who speak French, so I'll just ask them questions throughout the course of the day, course of the year and stuff. So
who's the most helpful?
Me and Bilal going on year 2. Year 2 is my teacher, but it helps with Keyshawn because Keyshawn is
he's bilingual.
Yeah, fire.
Yeah,
fire. And then we got mad French people around the facility. I'm not gonna lie, so there's hella wee going on in there. Bon travail, all type of stuff.
Yeah, no, it's that would have been helpful. I just was doing Duolingo, and I
started with that, but
I only got so far.
Yeah, it didn't.
Because I learned Spanish.
Le shot is the only thing that I learned, bro. That mean like cat, bro. That's it.
Tu manges an orange. Okay, cool. He can eat an orange,
right?
but like, how helpful is? Yeah, tu manges an orange.
No, I'm gonna have my French right by the start of the season.
All right, we can make that a mutual goal. If we do this again next year, we'll do part of the interview in
and see
French.
what we learn.
Yeah.
Okay, but I like that.
I'll probably be like bonjour,
and that's it. I'll just take it from there.
All right, excellent. All right, that's a good plan. We'll call it a date next year, media day. Anthony, put that in the notebook.
Lock it in.
All right, so I also noticed that tattoo over there, the leg sleeve, grew throughout the season from the end of season pictures. I think it was just down on the calf.
Yeah.
What's the tattoo plan here? What?
Just one leg sleeve. I'm done.
That's it.
I'm done. Sleeve it from top to bottom. I added a bunch of stuff. I added a Allen Iverson piece. I added Death Note. It's an anime. I don't really watch anime, but I watched that one and it was fire. His name's Ryuk. I got him. I got Denzel Washington on the side. Michigan logo. Barack Obama up top. Clint Eastwood on the side. Bernie Mac in the back.
So these are all like heroes of yours
on the side. Yeah, more like portrait vibes. Things that I like growing up. I thought were pretty cool.
No, they look great.
Yeah,
so
appreciate it, bro.
Excellent work on that.
Yeah,
I'm
my
sure
dog.
that hurt like hell.
Oh yeah, all tattoos are terrible. Anybody tells you that tattoos don't hurt, then
they're lying.
They're capping.
All right, let's talk a little ball. I know, like, the first half of last year for you compared to the second half are two completely different seasons.
Yeah.
My question for you, Jordan, is like when you watched yourself on tape in the first part of last year, and you're trying to figure out how to get to where you eventually did get. What was that process like of figuring that out on both ends of the floor?
I controlled everything that I could control. Like, in terms of the positions that I was on the court, minutes that I was playing, the unit that we were out there with. It's only so much you can control with that. I mean, you can be vocal, you can go talk to the coach, you can go have like these conversations, but ultimately when BK came, he's very familiar with my game. He coached against me my first 4 years in the league, and he knew my style and he knew what I do to be effective, and he wasted zero time on like telling the team that, as well as just like letting me know this is how he wants me to play, which is getting back to my game, being on ball, being aggressive, creating shots for myself, creating shots for others, playing in transition, playing free. And I think we just saw that as soon as he got the coaching change and he made that alter from being off ball to point guard, like everything went back to normal. So it's a learning process. Nothing is supposed to be easy, but it ties into just the fact that we were transitioning. We got a new coaching staff. We got a new front office. They're trying to figure things out. They're trying to figure out what direction they want to go to. It's their first year being in a head position. It's my first year being the lead player. So it was just a lot of transitioning things that we needed to go through. I'm sure if we all could do it right away and like skip that entire phase, I'm pretty sure we would. But it's just a part of the learning process, and definitely it makes you tougher. You learn a lot. It was cool. It was a cool experience, man. You got to take everything that comes with the process. You can't just take the highs.
I'm glad you used that word toughness. I'm reading a book right now by a guy named Steve Magnus.
Okay.
It's on toughness, and literally the chapter that I was reading last night talks about how struggle can be a factor in building toughness if you take the right approach to it. So what's something you learned through the struggle that it wasn't very fun at the time, but that now you're like, oh, I'm a better person, better basketball player because of this struggle that I had?
It's a good question. I'm not going to say, the thing that comes to mind is, stick with it, stay with your routine, but I did that. All of that, I think that is where people deter a little bit, is when things get tough or they're not going how they're supposed to. You want to alter something. You want to change something. But for me, I just stayed consistent through, the tough times anyway. You know what I mean?
Well, I guess then if it works,
stick to the process. If
it works, then
why change it?
Right.
But I can see how at the beginning of the year how people would think that didn't work, when that wasn't the thing. So just staying with the routine, sticking to what you know, challenging yourself, and then just getting back up, rise into every occasion, showing up every day, being first in, last one out. Right, that is more so of a lifestyle. That's more so of a personality trait than it is a motivation or non-motivational factor. So just sticking with it, because things are going to turn around. That's not going to always be tough, and you just take the bumps with the punches you throw.
All right, last question, because they're giving me the wrap here. So what this year going into it, you're obviously way more comfortable around the team. You know Will, you know BK, you know the staff, or a lot of the staff. You know the city a lot better. You've been doing a lot of cool stuff, and would love to have you back on the show eventually to talk about some of that.
Yeah, definitely. I might have to start popping out and doing some more podcasts with the team, local stuff. I've been thinking about it. Me and my where is he at? Me and my PR guy, J Squared.
Yeah, well, tell J Squared to come over here and pay me a visit. We'll have you on whenever. But for you on the court, what is success for you this year? That's how we're wrapping up all these chats here on
are we gonna go tangible, you can actually touch it, or just metaphorical things as well? Trying to hit we playing, at least playing. Obviously, I would love to get back to the playoffs. We would love to get them to the playoffs, but I think playing is a very reachable, tangible goal for us. But just learning and building a culture and a sense of style, like to DC, like a way that we play, right? Like playing with speed, playing with, like we're going to get up a lot of threes. We getting out in transition, have fun. We going to guard. Bringing like just like a joy back to the city. We're young, so we're going to have to use the season to learn the things that we need to learn in order to become a good team and be a team that ultimately wants to play in that postseason. But just building like an identity, I think that's something that'll be huge for us. And everything else will take care of itself, man. I'm extremely excited about the season. We're going in the right direction. We got some clarity. We got guys who are motivated. We got a young group of guys that are really going to help us this year. Coaching staff who's locked in, who's focused. It'll be a fun year.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
JP, we'll have you back on to talk about all the stuff you're doing.
Appreciate it, bro.
Appreciate it. That's Jordan Poole, everybody. I think we got one more interview, so don't go anywhere here on YouTube at the Team 980.
Love that.
back on Wizards Media Day. Told you we'd be back. It's Corey Kispert, everybody, with us here for this third year in a row that we've done this.
Yeah.
We've had Scottish adventures.
I can't remember that.
Yeah, we've had all kinds of fun. There's always something that comes out of this interview. So
yeah.
We don't know what it's going to be yet.
Stay tuned.
But if you're watching live, then this is why you watch live, because then you'll find out first. So what did you do this summer, Corey?
I spent a lot of time in the sun, played a lot of golf. I worked on my game, and
Your golf game or your basketball game?
Both.
Okay.
Both. And I just kind of stayed put, honestly. I mean, in the summertime, I love just like relaxing and decompressing. So not as many, travels and like international adventures as some of my other teammates, but I kind of like it that way.
When you say stay put, did you go back to wherever home is and stay put there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I know Will said there was a lot of guys that spent a lot more time here.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you balance wanting to be a part of those trips and being here with a lot of the fellas, and also making sure that you got the time you needed to decompress?
I mean, yeah, it's a balance, right? Like you want to be able to unplug and you want to be able to decompress after the long seasons that we have. But thankfully, we were able to get guys' phone numbers right away and communicate with people as soon as they became a part of the team. So I felt like I knew a lot of the guys already coming here to DC from in September when we were ready to roll. So I felt like we were picking up where we left off, not kind of starting off on page one.
Did you go to either Cali or Miami or
yeah.
both? Okay.
It was at one of them.
What was that experience like? Just kind of getting the fellas together. Kyle told me earlier, it was a lot more about the off the floor stuff than it was on the floor. But what was it like?
Yeah, it's exactly right. It's off the floor. It's meeting. It's getting to know each other. It's kind of developing the chemistry off the floor before you can apply it on the floor. And we did a great job of, making it feel light and comfortable. It didn't feel like a work trip or a business trip. It felt like you're just going to go hang out with the boys. So. Mission accomplished there.
What are those runs like on the floor though? Once you guys get out there, obviously you're all super competitive.
Yeah.
But you're all trying to learn each other. There's a point to it beyond just hey, can I win this pickup game?
Yeah.
So what are those runs like?
Yeah, it's kind of when you as a competitor, when you play anything, you want to win it, right? And that kind of winning mentality or winning those games take a little bit of a backseat just to learning how people play and seeing what kind of things they added over the summer in ways that can help us this year. So it's a little bit more of a research project than actually trying to win a game. But they're fun. Everyone's kind of has fresh legs, summer legs, and so you're able to see everybody at their best and kind of implementing the new things that they try to put in.
So we know that it's called jump season around here. What was your jump?
My jump was a lot of detail work, right? I feel like on my fourth year, I know who I am as a player. And don't get me wrong, there's things that I want to add and there's things that I want to change. But in the summertime specifically, I want to tighten the screws on the game that I already have. So it's a lot I didn't add anything brand new. I didn't reinvent myself as a player, but I really got better at the things that I am good at. And it's gonna pay off because great players are really good at the small stuff.
So for you, I'm guessing that's just continuing to refine the shot, making sure that it feels good. Whatever the plays off of that, the pump and go, which we saw last year. Got a couple bodies.
Yeah, a few.
And then what else is there? And actually, I know what I want to ask you.
Okay, go ahead.
Defensively,
yeah.
What you have to do is do your part amongst 9 other moving variables.
Yeah.
How the hell do you practice that?
Yeah, a lot of you try to play live as much as you can. I mean, for me, defensively, and it works on the offensive side of the ball. It was a little detail that I tried to add on both sides was playing as big as I am. I feel like I'm strong enough to push around anybody in this league, and learning how to actually play strong. On both sides of the ball, it can only help you. So defensively, matching guys' physicality and seeking contact and directing them where I want to go is something that I kind of toyed with and messed with and got a lot better at this summer.
You should have just asked me because I have an easy answer for you how to do that.
Yeah.
You go talk to Jonas and do whatever he says.
Yeah, he's big, man.
That is a big dude.
A mountain of a man.
What has it been like to have him and Malcolm around? Because I've heard those two dudes are just different.
About as easygoing and about as chill of people as you can have. They love basketball. They love the game. They love talking about it. And so those conversations you have with guys that have seen a lot help you as a player, and they help us grow cohesively as a group. So, they've been amazing since the day they stepped in the building, and their experience shows on the floor too. Like they're incredible.
Knowing you the way I professionally do, and not like we're best friends. We don't hang out. He hasn't invited me to play golf, which is probably a good thing because I would very much slow him down because I'm not very good and he is. The point is, Corey, that I know enough about you at this point, 4 years into this, to know how you tick, and that when Brian Keefe came in, you were probably very happy about it. What's your favorite BK story?
Favorite BK story. It's less of a story. It's just more of how he like relates to guys. Like he's truly has a gift of developing relationships with his players, and he knows exactly how he can talk to me versus how he can talk to Jordan versus how he can talk to Bilal. Like his style to each different person is different. But he holds everybody accountable in the same way, and so he's a master at that. And accountability is something you crave as a player, truly deep down. And he really is good at that. And he wants to hold us to the highest standard that we can have as a team, and it's only going to make us better. So like that was a really, really nice breath of fresh air playing the second half of the season with him.
One thing I talked to him about, and I'm curious how it looks from your end of the equation, is the balance between giving players autonomy, that they feel like they have ownership, but also keeping them with, coloring within the line, so to speak, of the system and the way you guys want to play, the principles, all those kinds of things. How do you see him doing that, and in terms of making sure that you guys feel empowered, that you can be yourselves, that you can feel the joy that Will and everybody talks about, but also doing things the way that they want them done?
Yeah, I mean, like on the court, like it's important on a team to have roles, and everybody has a different role, and those roles change and shift throughout the year. I think freedom comes within like knowing what you're supposed to do on the floor and having that clear guideline and exploring within that. But on the other hand, like he lets us let it rip personally. Like we can be authentically who we are, every show of emotion, every way we want to play to the crowd, every way we want to interact with each other. Like that's okay. That's all good. And he encourages all of that. And practices are loose and they're fun and they're fast paced, but like, don't get us wrong. Like it's not going to be a free for all and roll the ball out and see what happens. Like there's structure and there's roles, and on the court we can explore within that.
What is success for you this year? The most media day question ever.
I know. And I know it's probably the hardest one too. I think success for me comes in, I think it's like being more authentically myself. I mean, like there's so many times over the course of my first 3 years, and it's happened less and less as I've gone on, where I feel like I'm questioning who I am or what I'm doing out there and like how I can impact this team. I feel like that's clearer than ever, and I want to be able to stick to that every single day. And I think I'm in a position right now with this team where my game is at, that if I like truly stick to myself and never waver and the kind of things I want to do on the floor, like I'm really posed to have like an amazing year.
Do you like working on yourself, so to speak? Like
sure.
That's such a big
cliche
topic.
term,
It is, but like I'm someone who thinks about that stuff a lot. So I'm asking this question from like genuine curiosity, not in like a okay athlete guy with your athlete
working
brain.
on yourself.
Everyone's working on themselves out here. Do you? No, not dumb jock. Gen Z feelings, whatever. Right.
Sure.
I'm trying to work too. Do you read? Do you like who do you talk to? Like what's that process look like for you?
Yeah, it's mostly talking to people, really. I mean, I have a lot of good friends, both back home and people that friends that I've made, coaches that I've played for here who are no longer here that I can really lean on, who read a ton, who study a ton, who have been in a bunch of different places. And mostly for me, it's just seeking out people who are smarter than me and who have been more places than me, and like asking what seems like dumb questions to them, but are really valuable to me. And if I can get things off my chest with the way that I'm feeling and how I'm approaching a season or different situations or problems that I'm navigating, that helps me feel better as a person. And like hearing advice from really wise people, never hurts.
No doubt. All right, last topic here. You are a 4-year college player, yeah?
Yeah.
You're now 4 years in the league.
Yep.
And now you have 19-year-old kids that are your teammates?
Yep.
Are you starting to feel that age gap a little bit?
Yes, I am. I mean, people have been really nice to me today and calling me a vet and like longer tenured wizard, but like the word that they're saying is old when I read between the lines, and I'm starting to feel that way. I mean, like these guys help me feel a little young. I mean, I'm 25, so I'm not old by any stretch, but like 19, like that's a big gap. So I'm learning from them as much as they're learning from me.
What are you learning from them?
Just like these guys have unbelievable amounts of energy. Like they just come into the building every day like they've got like 10 hours of sleep and they've drank 4 Red Bulls before they showed up. So
must be nice.
They're pushing me to like play with joy and like approach the game in like in that way, which is going to help in the middle of the season.
It should be fun.
Yeah.
Looking forward to watching you guys
Cool.
this year. There was no accents this year, which
Bummer.
Might be a good thing,
Yeah, it
depending
could
on
be, it
which
could
roads
be,
we
could
go
be.
down.
Could
But
be.
we have done our third straight media day interview without either of us getting fired, and we'll consider that a success.
That's a win.
Corey Kispert, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
All right, last interview of the day. Alex Sarr, number 2 overall pick in the 2024 NBA draft. You said this is only like your 3rd and 4th, so you're not too fatigued of media day, even though we're getting near the end here.
Yeah, I'm actually doing good right now. Yes, sir.
Doing all right. All right, so you like the places that you have lived and played is like a vacation dream list. You know, you played at Real Madrid, so you played in Spain, obviously, came here, overtime elite. You go to Australia, now you're back. You grew up in France. My question for you, Alex, based off all of that, is like, how has that mix of cultures helped shape you as a young man, but also getting to experience all what you are now as a still a prospect, obviously getting started here on your NBA journey?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it definitely helped me just learning how to adapt to different places. You know, like when I moved to Spain, I was 14. I had to like get to know different type of people. I actually met Tristan Vucevic, who is on the team now. So, you know, it just made me learn, you know, how to interact with new people I didn't know. And I feel like that's definitely helped me in my game and just as a person.
What's something that you feel like you picked up along the way? We can just go, you know, through. Like, what's something that you think from, you know, growing up in France, French culture, and by the way, I was there this summer. I love France, love French culture. I think that like the French worldview is very interesting. But for you, like, what is something that you look at about yourself that you're like, that is quintessentially French?
That's a good question. I would probably say just the fact that I like a lot of different type of food. I feel like, you know, that's what like growing up in France made me. You know, like I like duck. I like duck liver. You know, like I like different type of stuff that you know, maybe if I didn't grow up in France, I wouldn't like.
So kind of a creative, willing to try stuff. Does that apply outside of food, do you think? Like if Jordan Poole is like, hey, I'm going to go try this crazy thing, are you like, yeah, I'm down?
I mean, it depends. It depends what crazy thing we're talking about.
If I had said someone other than Jordan Poole, would it have been different?
No, I mean, like, you know, if he tells me, like, let's go on a hike, you know, I wouldn't be, you know, I would be open to it, you know, like stuff like that. I feel like just being open-minded, I guess, you know, being from France and Europe.
What about when you get to Australia? I know you talked about this in some pre-draft interviews. As a basketball player, I'll focus on more now. What is something that changed for you in your year playing in Perth?
Yeah, I mean, it was like my first real like professional year. You know, like playing with grown men. You know, in a professional league, with travels and interesting for me to like learn habits about how to take care of my body, how to bounce back from game, how to scout. You know, like watching film. So you know, it was a lot of growth, I think, and yeah, it definitely helped me tremendously.
Obviously, your conversations with Will Dawkins went well enough that he took you number 2 in the draft. What were your your first impressions of him?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of already knew Will from the Thunder because my brother used to play there. Mm-hmm. So, you know, he kind of just felt like I already knew him before I talked with him. But, you know, like, I felt like, you know, he's a really motivated guy. He knows where the franchise is going, and I was fitting for that. So, you know, I guess it was an easy choice.
Obviously, you've had to adapt in the multiple places, like you talked about, going to Spain, to Australia, coming here. What has the adaptation been like this time, and how much has it helped having Bilal, having Keyshawn, some guys around the building? You can speak your native language, you understand where you came from, and I don't know if you had that in some of your other stops.
Yeah, I feel like it was really natural for me this time, like as an adaptation. Like, I feel like everybody around me was really genuine, you know, wanted the best for me, and you know, I try to learn as much as I can from everybody here because they have way more NBA experience than I do right now. So, you know, I'm just learning, asking questions, and, you know, trying to get to know the guys.
One of the things that they've talked about quite a bit is the goals and how they set goals here, right? Obviously, eventually the goal is to win and sustain winning. But in order to get there, there's all these steps along the way. What's that been like to come into that environment and have whatever your goals are? I don't know if you guys have even had those meetings yet, but whatever the goals are laid out very distinctly in front of you.
I think it's really good as a player to, like, you know, like, obviously everybody has goals, but, you know, to have them like written down and to have people that actually knows where your goal is so they can hold you accountable. You know, like every 10 games, I think we have like a meeting to talk about, you know, where are we compared to our goals. And I think it's good because you never like fall into the flow of the season where you're just like, oh, another game. You keep that in mind, and I feel like that's what's going to help me just keep improving.
What have been your first impressions of Brian as your head coach?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really started training camp yet, but just over the pickup games, you know that what we want is to be a really defensive-minded team that plays with a fast pace and has a lot of movement offensively. And, that's stuff that I like. That's stuff that I feel like fits me as a player. So, I like his way of coaching.
Will, when he was here, what time is it? Oh, about 3 hours ago, he said that he's relying on, and not just he, the team, is relying on you and Bilal a lot as anchors for that defensive side of it. Obviously, there's pressure that comes with that, but is that something that's exciting? Is it nerve-wracking? How do you feel about knowing that you have, even though you're a rookie, real responsibility on this team?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really exciting. The whole team wants to be a better defensive team. Obviously, that's how you win games. You don't allow a lot of points. So Bilal is a really good defender. I think I'm a really good defender too. So, I think we can have an impact, the two of us.
Do you communicate at all in French on the court, and can that be used as a weapon defensively against your opponents?
I actually do sometimes, but when I do, it's mostly when I'm talking straight to him, because when I'm actually in the scheme.
Well, that would be very bad if
exactly.
Although Jordan said that he's been working on his French a lot. So.
He has actually.
Is he doing okay?
Up to us, he talks in French, but he's doing great. He's doing all right.
Okay, that's good. How have you liked Washington D.C. so far?
It's been cool. I haven't visited much stuff yet, but
do you have a list of things that you want to do?
No, I don't, but that's definitely something I want to do, maybe visit a few museums, maybe. But yeah, you can see it's I'm not going to be bored here,
Yeah, for sure. That's the thing, though. It's Paris has some of the best museums. A lot of the stuff that people like in D.C., I think, is in Paris. Yeah. Just the Paris version is better. So I love it here. This is my home now. I've been here for almost 10 years, but that's a hard bar to hit.
I get it. Yeah. I mean, it's tough.
Yeah, there's, I don't know. I'm sure the National Art Gallery and stuff is great, but you have Le Musée d'Orsay and
it's different. It's two different things.
It's different. But I will say, for someone who likes a lot of different food, you're in the right city.
Oh yeah.
There's a bunch of different stuff to try. Every cuisine you can think of is here. So,
yes,
welcome to the city. Enjoy. Obviously, it's going to be a lot of fun watching you this year. Appreciate your time here on the radio and on the internet.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
All right, that's it for our Media Day coverage. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you at 4 o'clock later on the radio for the Hoffman Show.